Welcome back to Bowman's Woods. If you've been watching the channel, you know I'm living in that trailer while we build this off-grid house. This off-grid house is going to be completely powered by solar, and it's going to be heated by a wood boiler. And that's something you would know if you've watched the previous episodes. If you haven't, go back and check those out. But today we're going to talk about what it's like to live in a trailer next to a construction site during the build process and what you need. And to make a trailer feel like a comfortable home, you need power. And for that, I've got various solar panels hooked up to this trailer. Everything from big glass panels to soft panels to now the newest one I want to review today, a glass or monocrystalline panel that's foldable and is perfect for when you need portable power, like at a construction site when you need to move it around, or for hunters, or for trailer people like me who need to once in a while decide to move your trailer from one part of your property to another, or from one campsite to another. This is pretty much the perfect option, and I'll explain why it's got its pros over just normal glass panels or soft cell foldable panels. And I'll also go over the cons, because you know there's no product that's perfect. I will talk about some of the cons as well. So let's get into this review. Okay, I just unpacked the Renogy 400 watt monocrystalline suitcase, they call it. And as you'll see from the photos I provide, it comes in a box padded with foam, and then there is a zippered bag to go around it, and the only thing that sticks out are the handles on the top. You will probably need that because, as you can see, when it is folded up, the monocrystalline panels actually face out. So you'll see why. It's because it's kind of hollow behind here, so if it was the other direction, you'd probably get it caught on things. But because of that, if you are throwing this in the back of your car to go camping or whatever, you do want to put it in the zippered bag just so it doesn't get scratched. So this is what it looks like all folded up. It's 400 watts, again, monocrystalline, not polycrystalline. Let me show you the difference. This is a glass panel, in essence. This is also a Renogy glass panel. Those are also glass panels. They're all monocrystalline. This is a polycrystalline soft panel. So if you ever see soft solar panels that can bend around things, they're polycrystalline. They have their pros and cons. Monocrystalline is more efficient per square inch, but it's less forgiving to shadows. So these ones will give you more bang for the buck as long as it's not being shaded by a tree branch or anything else. These ones, as you can see, there's a bit of shade on that side. They stand up a little bit better to being partially shaded. So if you're in an area, if you're camping and it's kind of a foresty area and you don't think you're going to always get completely unobstructed sunlight, then polycrystalline is good for that. But that's the only thing I can say for it. If you have a sunny day, 400 watts here, and that there, those two middle ones are 400 watts combined. That will get you more power on the same day as this. Now, obviously, there's factors like right now, this polycrystalline is pretty much laying on the ground, only because this brand has a leg that stands up and makes the solar panels way too straight up and down, and I wanted it more laid back, so I just laid it on some boards. But as you can see, these ones are laid back a little bit more, and that's what you want. You want a nice efficient perpendicular angle to the sun. That's Renogy, and now this is Renogy. So I also have two 200 watt solar briefcases, which I reviewed before, which would add up to the same 400 watts, but you need to put them in series in order to get 400 watts. This will be all in one package, which is superior. One last thing I wanted to mention about the benefits of monocrystalline over polycrystalline too is these are just like those glass panels. They can be left out rain or shine because they're glass panels. The polycrystalline, it's almost, well, these ones are kind of floppy and they're kind of like on a canvas. So they say in their owner's manual not to leave them out in rain. Now I have, because I was sent that for review, but I've left it out just to see how it holds up. But you know, if you paid your hard-earned money and it tells you not to leave it in the rain, that probably means don't leave it in the rain because there's no guarantee it's going to hold up to being, you know, in torrential downpours. While glass panels can be left out 24/7, and also when you have something that's kind of like stitched into a canvas, if you leave it out in wintertime, you know, is it going to get wet and then freeze and things will start breaking? Glass panels are designed to be outside all the time. And if you look at the back, so I was mentioning before about why it's folded the way it is, it's hollow under here. So yeah, if you had it folded the other way with the backside outside, you would probably catch it on things. So yeah, you want to put it in that zippered case. Now, as for the way it stands, this is something I mentioned on the 200 watt one as well. It's sort of like a kickstand like you'd have on a bike. So once you put it out, that's the angle it's going to be at, which is not a bad angle, but it's not adjustable. Like you can't have it taller than that, because that's as long as the kickstand can go. Also, because it's kind of one size fits all angle, if the ground you're on is not level, you're going to find that the actual panels kind of have a wave action to it. So my ground's not perfectly level. So there you go. Disregard all the background noise. I'm building a house in the background. So that's about similar angle to the panels I've set up over here, which is a good summertime angle. But in the winter, and we're getting there now, we're in fall, as the sun gets lower in the sky, you'd want to make this even maybe a little bit taller. And the only way to do that is maybe to put like a 2x4 or something behind it, and then have the legs on top of that to give it a little bit of a higher angle. So there you go. If you want it lower, like I did with the polys over there, all you do is lay it flat and then put some boards or something under it to give it a bit of a lean. But yeah, so it's not an adjustable leg system like some of the other portable panels. There's like a strap system on the legs where you can make it longer and shorter, but these are a metal kickstand. It's got a pros that metal kickstand will probably last you forever, as opposed to a canvas strap. But the downside is it's not very adjustable. It's pretty much the size, or the angle you're going to get is the angle you're going to get. So that's something to consider. Okay, to anybody that's new to the channel, you may not be aware that I am building an off-grid house. This house is going to be completely powered by solar panels, no city grid tie-in, nothing. It's built of ICF, that's why you see the foam, so it's going to be a cement-walled house. And while I've been living in my trailer since April, working on this, there's been a lot of need for solar panels. So I've got quite a few on the go. I just wanted to show you these ones because these are the same technology as the 400 watt panel we're reviewing. It's the 200 watt version. So I got two 200 watts in series. I just noticed there's a cord sticking over one of the panels. I'll have to move that. But yeah, I've been using this to power the well. So to live in a trailer, you need water. So I had a well drilled early, and I'm running it from a solar generator that's underneath that black tote. So that just is there to protect it from the rain and the sun. But it's there in case the guys need to charge their DeWalt tools or any of that stuff, but it's also there for the well, so that if we need water, we've got it. And I just want to let you know that these have been working since April. I love these things. Again, because they're monocrystalline, you can leave them out rain or shine. You don't need to bring them in. And they've been doing a great job. So it's kind of good to know that something I reviewed many months ago now is still working perfectly. And keeping the well running lets the guys charge their tools and whatnot. If we need a big draw thing, like if they need to run table saws for a while or whatnot, then we'll fire up a gas generator. But for smaller draws or infrequent draws, a solar generator connected to solar panels is perfect for a build site. So there you go. We're going to test this 400 watt panel. Now I always do the soup can test. In a perfect world, this can would have no shadow. But because of, as I mentioned, this kind of set it and forget it one size kickstand, you really can't angle it perfectly. I should actually have it lower, but it's close enough. Now I just had my solar generator here plugged into that 400 watt poly over there, and it was getting about 194 watts. This is a 400 watt monocrystalline, which should be more efficient, and sure enough, I'll bring the camera over afterwards, but it's 275 watts. Again, in a perfect world, I would lower this a bit to get, so you don't have the shadow above it, but it's close enough. So I'll do the long-term reaction to this in probably a future video. As you saw, my 200 watt versions of this have been working flawlessly since April, since I lived here. As you can see, the trailer behind me, I've been living in this trailer since April while the construction's going on just over there. So these Renogy mono suitcases have worked really, really well. And the good thing about having 400 watts in one panel instead of two 200 watts is you don't have to worry about trying to put them in series. And if there is one complaint I have, and I mentioned that in my other review, the wire that comes with these suitcase models could be longer. As you can see, there's not much length to this. So if you did have two 400 watt panels in series trying to make 800 watts, you have a hard time putting another set of panels behind it and still having these two wires reach it. So you may have to create your own extension wires. Otherwise, the only other option is leave your solar generator right behind your panel like this. So something to consider. So just as a comparison, these two glass panels are also 400 watts, and there's a different solar generator, so it might give a slightly different reading, but as you can see, it's getting about 257, 258 watts. And just show you what the sky looks like. It is a perfectly blue sky, but there is a bit of a haze. It is October 21st, 2024, so it is late fall. So the sun is not high in the sky, so it's got to go through more atmosphere to hit the solar panels. So that'll take away some of its efficiency. It's not going to ever, almost ever, except for maybe July, perfect noon, then you might get closer to the 400 watts. But in most cases, you're going to lose something due to atmospheric conditions and angle of the sun in the sky and whatnot. So just so you know, that solar suitcase is doing just as well, if not slightly better, than these actual glass panels. So that's pretty good for efficiency. I'll put the specs on the screen now of what the panels are, and then I'll give you my final thoughts. Okay, to get all the specs, let's go to the Renogy website so I don't miss anything. This is the Renogy Canada one. You can see from the price, they've got a wicked sale going on now, but I don't even want to go to the American Renogy because it'll kind of piss me off how much less they pay. If you're from Australia or any of these other countries, you know what I mean? You see the American price and you see our price, and you're like, oh. Anyways, to save you even more money, my contact at Renogy said they'll give me a coupon code. I'll put it in the video description in the pinned comment. So if you go there, you'll find the coupon code you can use, which should give you an even bigger discount over whatever the sale item is at the time. So let's just go down and talk about it. Folded dimensions, 27.9 inches by 33.7 inches. Clearly that's an American post because it should be in centimeters, but you get my point. That's the size. It weighs 13.7 kilograms. It's funny how they're doing metric for the weight, but inches for the size. Plug and play, that's pretty standard now. Those are MC4 connectors. So yeah, that should be the standard, but every once in a while you get a solar panel that comes with some weird Anderson cable or whatever. So there you go. 3,000 plus unfolds and folds. I don't know why you would ever test how many times you can fold it and unfold it, but they're just telling you that. So the solar panel is ETFE coated, which is a coating they put on to make it more waterproof, IP67, plus it's more scratch resistant and whatnot. And they're showing you over here that it's 22.7% efficient, which might not mean anything to you if you're not a solar panel person, but that's pretty high. That's quite high. Like the highest I've ever seen on a glass panel is usually around 23%. So for a portable solar panel to be 22.7 is pretty impressive. There's obviously some video there that I'm not going to play. Portable power anywhere, 48 volt open circuit voltage. So there you go. So its open circuit voltage is 48 volts, which is something you need to know for your solar generator. If you'll look at the specs of your solar generator, some of the really small ones, 48 volts might be almost too much, but usually not, but you got to check. So that's the number you really need to know to see if it's in the right range for your solar generator. Does your solar generator accept 48 volt in its range from the solar panels? So that's an important number to know. Robust structure, like we said, the aluminum leg, it does have the kind of more toughness than those kind of canvas straps that have a little sliding lock mechanism that makes it longer or shorter. Sure, it's great for adjusting the angle, but it doesn't really stand up to 10 or 20 years of use. That canvas strap is going to wear out, and then you're going to have to be propping it up on a board or something. Again, they're talking about this 3,000 fold and unfolds. Yeah, I don't think I would be folding and unfolding it 3,000 times in my entire life. So there you go. They're just showing you here your different ways of upgrading your system. You can have multiple solar arrays going into the same charger, MPPT, and then it goes into your batteries. Reliable, again, they're talking about the 22.7% efficiency, unyielding strength. And somewhere in here, where did I see it? There's a 5-year warranty I saw somewhere. 5-year, there it is, 5-year warranty. So there you go. And then, they do have, is that it? Yeah, there's millimeters down here for dimensions of it, probably open. That was the dimensions closed up here. So there we go. Those are the specs that most people want to know. A lot of times the open circuit voltage is important to some people because you don't want to buy a solar panel that's too strong or, well below what your solar generator can handle. If your solar generator can handle more, then chances are you could get 2 of these and have 800 watts of 800 watts of solar in series. It'll still be 48 volt open circuit, but you can handle a lot more. So just check the specs of your solar generator. The very small ones can't handle as much. So you can't double and triple up the solar panels if you've got a tiny solar generator. But if it's a decent sized one, this should be well within the range. Okay, welcome back. So this is 2 weeks later after I've opened it. Much colder now. So it's November 2nd. This time of year in Canada, it's either a couple of days of t-shirt weather and then 2 or 3 days of like coat weather. It's coat weather now. It's a little crisp out here. Not a perfectly sunny day, as you can see too. Kind of sunny or cloudy with a few sunny parts. But what I've been finding after 2 weeks of testing it, of course, I've got tons of experience with Renogy products. I've never had a single solar panel ever fail me. The quality is always there, so I'm not really worried about that. But just as for results on right now when it's kind of overcast, I've got it going into a solar generator right here, and it's getting about 120. A second ago, it depends on how thick the cloud is, it was 140. And then when it's sunny, I was getting, like you saw before, when it's sunny, I'm getting close to 280 out of 400. You got to remember, it's November 2nd in Canada. The sun is pretty low in the sky now. So like I said earlier, let's go through a lot of atmosphere before it gets to your solar panels. So you're going to lose a little bit of efficiency there. Now let me flip around the camera and we'll talk about the pros and cons. Okay, like I said, 2 weeks, no problem at all. Now, what are the pros of this type of panel? A, it's glass, like the ones behind it. That's Renogy, and that's a Renogy, and the far one is a different brand, and that's a different, that folding soft panel is a different brand. But if you want the efficiency per square inch of glass panels, then this is the technology you want. If you want portability, then a suitcase like this, where it folds up and has a handle and you can carry it, is perfect. So for campers, or in my case, if you're at a construction site and you might need it to charge solar generator in one spot and then you need to move it to another spot and you want to move it around, this is the way to go, versus this, which is obviously way too big. Those are two 550 watt panels, so they're much bigger than what we have with the Briefcase, but this is equivalent. That's 400 watt panels there. Problem with that, kind of big and cumbersome, you know, not very easy to move around, and doesn't have legs to stand, so you got to lean it on something like I'm doing there, or mount it to a some sort of racking system. This is just something you can just quickly unfold it, slap it down, and you're ready to go. Now you could say the same thing about these soft panels over here, but with soft panels, they aren't really designed the way it is stitched to a canvas to be out in all sorts of weather. Now I'm doing it. I don't know if you can see, there's still some water on these panels. It's been raining last night, and I got 2 sets of these to test. So I'm kind of sacrificing one set. I'm leaving it out permanently, even in the rain, to see how long I can use these soft panels and still have them work. But that's not something you have to worry about with a glass panel. So very happy with the quality. Like I said, I have the 200 watts in series over on the construction site, and it's been there since April, I think. It's pretty much since the beginning of when I started living here in this trailer, and works flawlessly. So the pros are, it's got the same characteristics as glass panels, but is portable. It's light enough to carry around, and it's 400 watts, which is a pretty decent size for a portable solar panel. The downside, and I always like to do the pros and cons. Downside is the one size fits all kickstand. I'd love it to be a little bit more adjustable for different angles, and the super short wire. So let's just say you had 2 of these panels. So you wanted to have 800 watts, so you want to do in series. My suggestion to Renogy is make the wire that comes out of the bottom of this be long enough to get to the very end of the panel. That way, if you wanted to have this solar panel be there and then another solar panel to be beside it in series, you could connect the 2 wires if they were longer. Unfortunately, the way it is now with these really short wires, the only way to do 200 in series, because the wire's on the left side, and it would be, if you had another set, it would also be on the left side, is you have to do 1 row and then behind it 1 row. But what I've run into, because the wires are so short, you have to have them so close together that if the sun is low in the sky, this one being here will shade the one that's behind it. That's how close they have to be. If it was a longer cord and you could do them side by side, then you don't have to worry about the shading problem. So that's my only flaw I found. Well, only 2 flaws. More adjustability on the kickstand on the back, and longer wire. The longer wire seems like a very easy solution. I just don't understand why they would make it like, what is that, 18 inches long? So for slightly more money, Renogy could make the cord go at least to the 3rd or 4th panel so that you could connect it to another set of panels in series. So there you go. I like the efficiency. I like the portability. I like the sturdiness. I like the ability to be able to leave it out, rain or shine, like I do with my glass panels. But I can attest to the quality will last, because everything I've ever owned that's Renogy has always lasted forever. And I'm using it in real world examples here because I'm living in this trailer full time. And I need all the solar I can to run everything that's in that trailer. So there you go. So there you go. There's my real world testing of the Renogy Solar Suitcase, the 400 watt version. Like I said, go back and watch my other episode if you want to see the 200 watt version, which is exactly the same type of product, just half the size. A great purchase if you're a camper or on the move. Now, granted, one thing I didn't say in my pros and cons, if you want to save a little money and you just want 400 watts and you're at a cottage or somewhere, you're going to permanently mount it somewhere, then the standard glass panels are probably cheaper for the same 400 watts than getting the folding ones. So there you go. If price is your issue and you don't plan to move it, then you could just get the Renogy glass panels and they'll do just as good. If you want the flexibility of being able to move it around, if you're a camper or if you're a hunter or you go to the hunting camp every once in a while and you want the portability of solar panels, then this is definitely the way to go. So there you go. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode and got something out of it. If so, show the channel some love by giving it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already to follow along with my off-grid home build, which is mostly what I've been doing lately in the episodes. And until next time, this is Craig wishing you happiness and health. Ciao for now.